What is up, you guys? This is Mini Superheroes Today.
With Black Panther Wakanda Forever hitting theaters, I wanted to take a walk down memory lane and revisit every Black Panther related LEGO set and see how they ranked up. This will size up every LEGO set released under the greater Black Panther umbrella, as well as LEGO sets from other movies and games that included the character, but we're not going to count keychains and stuff. So here are all the Black Panther LEGO sets ranked in order from worst to best, and if you'd like more thoughts, check out the link below to my article on 1:37 p.m. Let's dive in. So naturally, the lowest ranking set is going to be the polybag of the Royal Talon Fighter. Now, it's a fine set, but at 59 pieces, it can't hold a candle to everything else on the list. One cool thing I'll say is it was actually a pretty durable and swooshable build. You can fly it around, and all of the wings on the side were Star-Lord's guns, which at the time had only come in a few sets, so it was cool to get a lot of those in a relatively cheap polybag. This would have been about $3 or $4, and it's a cool one. It deserves to be on the list, but it's definitely the least cool of anything here. So let's start getting into the good stuff. While not technically a Wakanda Forever set, it was released with the Wakanda Forever sets, and this is the 4+ Shuri's Lab set. It retails for $10 with only 58 pieces, but you do get two minifigures, the endgame version of Shuri, as well as a new Black Panther minifigure that is exclusive to this set. It's a fine set. It's $10. It's kind of hard to argue with, but much like the polybag we just talked about, it's just hard to say it's better than the other stuff that's going to be on the list. Even though it is a pretty good value for the price, the other stuff kind of is a little bit bigger and better and more fun to build, so we'll keep moving forward. Our first large-scale set will be Shuri's Sunbird at number 13. This retails for $50 at the time of this video, and it's a fine set. There are some unique elements in this, like the big curved pieces on the two turbines on either side of the ship, but unfortunately you can only fit one minifigure in it, and there aren't a ton of play features, and I don't know, it's just not a great set for $50 compared to other sets from other themes that are on the shelves right now. So, it's an okay build, it gives you a lot of nice, unique shaped black pieces, but it doesn't hold up to the rest of the things on the list. So, like the last ones, the best is yet to come. Released as part of Marvel's Infinity Saga wave, the Black Panther Dragonflyer was a very unique inclusion. It gave you a charged-up Black Panther suit, Shuri in her endgame outfit for the first time, and a Chitauri for them to fight against. It's a pretty decent build, especially at the $25 price point, and it was one of the cheaper sets from the Infinity Saga wave, which definitely enticed a lot of fans, but there's not a ton that you can do with it. The wings are just a tad flimsy, just a tad, and it's just okay. It's a great $25 set, but it's not the best on the list, so it didn't even make the top 10 here, even though I would recommend picking it up while it's still on store shelves. A set that's often forgotten is the 2020 Avengers speeder bike attack, which had Black Panther on a speeder bike, along with Thor fighting a very brave AIM trooper to take on these two by himself. Anyways, this was loosely based off of the Avengers video game from 2020, which unfortunately has kind of been forgotten by a lot of fans as well, which probably doesn't help with this set being remembered, but it was a relatively cheap way to get Thor, who would later come in a lot of sets, this specific version of Thor, and this Black Panther only came in this set, and it's probably the closest we've gotten to date to a true comic book version of T'Challa, which is quite cool, and that's why it comes in at number 11. Almost to the top 10, but not quite. 2022 continued with the Marvel Mech series, however, not without its road bumps. This was supposed to come out in January of 2022, but it was delayed until spring because all three of the mechs in this wave had a structural issue that required them to be redesigned. So we did get the set eventually, but it was delayed, and at $10, this is a really awesome way to get an exclusive Black Panther minifigure, and although it doesn't show it on the front of the box, it also came with a head that you could switch out for it to be the unmasked version of T'Challa, a relative rarity in these $10 sets, and definitely a welcome addition. And I put this in the top 10 because I feel like this has potential to be a lot of kids' first LEGO set, and I think that a cool LEGO set that has Black Panther in it, at the time it was the cheapest set ever to include Black Panther, I think that those are all points that add up and make it a worthy inclusion into the top 10. Number 9 is the Black Panther War on the Water from Wakanda Forever. Now, this does retail for $90, and this set is not without its problems, but I do think it's a really cool set. I mean, first off, you got pretty much every main character from Wakanda Forever, including, spoiler alert, Shuri in the Black Panther outfit. The M'Baku minifigure is great, Okoye is awesome, Ironheart is great, and Namor is pretty good too. I just really wish he had his facial hair and mustache. The only problem with this set is the scale. As we saw in the movie, this thing is way, way bigger than the Lego set made it out to be, so that is a little bit difficult and a bit of a gripe. There's no real play features on it either, but if you were just to part it out, there are a lot of good parts for building mechs, and again, those minifigures are spectacular in this set, so it does come in at number 9 for me. I feel like a lot of people watching this video might be surprised that I didn't rank this one dead last, but let me explain. At number 8, we have the Black Panther bust, released in 2022. This is a $350 bust set. It's one of the most expensive LEGO Marvel sets ever released, not to mention one of the biggest in terms of piece count, and it's one of the more expensive LEGO sets in the catalog for 2022. Now, why does this come in at number 8? Well, it was a fun way to spend an evening building. There were a lot of unique design elements that were put in. A lot of those barrel lacquered silver pieces do look good if you were to tear this apart and use them for mocks. But, you know, at $350, it's just very hard to justify purchasing this set. So here's the deal, guys. The reason why it's at number 8 is because of the magnitude. I think if you're a Black Panther collector and you wanted to have every set on this list, of course you would need to have this one. And even with its issues, I do think that the magnitude of the set is pretty cool. I do think it was pulled off relatively well, even if it's not really, you know, something that every collector is going to want or need. I just think it's a unique piece, and I think we should celebrate unique things, but Lego, if you're listening, maybe make this like $200 next time. Scale it down, or I think this could have even been a $60 helmet set. Anyways, I've got a full video reviewing this set if you want my full thoughts. I don't want to turn this video into a review of this set, but it's at number 8, and I'm curious to hear if you guys agree with me or not. Anyways, let's move on down the list. Number 7 is a set a lot of people may not know exists, but it's the limited edition 2016 Comic-Con exclusive Black Panther and Doctor Strange brickheads. Now, I've always thought that this was a little strange, no pun intended, that 2 of the most popular Marvel superheroes were released in brickheads form in limited edition, where most fans would never be able to get them. That aside, I do think that both of these builds are pretty cool, and the fact that it's limited does add a cool factor. Like, I would love to own this someday, but I probably never will, just because I would never shell out like the $1,000+ that this costs to get sealed. So I think it's cool. I'm probably never going to own it. A lot of people watching this will probably never own it, but it's rare, and the builds did turn out pretty good, so let's give it some points and put it at number 7. At number 6, we have the Rhino Face-Off by the Mind from the first Black Panther film in 2018. Can you believe this set retailed for just $20? You got Okoye, Killmonger in his Black Panther vibranium suit, and Black Panther in his charged up suit, although he's charged up blue because he's based on concept art. So even though this was a great value at $20, the fact that we got a Black Panther that is not MCU accurate does lose a couple points for me, but hey, number 6 is a pretty good ranking, so let's move on to number 5. When Avengers Endgame came out in 2019, everybody wanted a final battle set, and it took us 2 years, but we did finally get that set in 2021. This was the Avengers compound as it was being attacked by Thanos, and we got a small Ant-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Scarlet Witch, a Big Fig Thanos, a Chitauri, and of course, a charged up Black Panther. This was such a cool set. You got Ant-Man's time travel van, all of those minifigs. It just made for such a memorable set. Some people have complained that they thought it was a little too expensive, not enough build, but look how many minifigures we got. That's what we're all after with the Marvel stuff anyways. The builds are cool, but we're really after the minifigs. So I really like this set, and I think it's a worthy inclusion at number 5. And not just because it has Thor. Number 4 is the other minifigure set from 2018's Black Panther, and that is the Royal Talon Fighter Attack. This included the regular Black Panther, who would also come in the Infinity War set a little bit later down the line. We got Killmonger with his ancient Wakandan mask. We got Ulysses Claw as well as Nakia flying the Royal Talon Fighter. this is a very solid build, and while there weren't very many play features aside from the stud shooter and a little prison where you could put claw, it was a pretty good build, and retailing for $40, you got 4 minifigures, all of which were pretty accurate, and I just think it's a really good representative build, especially considering this ship has showed up in several Marvel projects since then. Lego has never offered this again. I think that it's retained its value pretty well, because if you're trying to have all the Marvel ships, you're definitely going to need this one. And since they didn't do one for Wakanda Forever, I really don't know when they'll ever do this again. So it comes in at number 4. Before we get to the top 3, do me a favor and hit like and subscribe down below if you haven't already. Number 3 is the first LEGO Black Panther set that was ever released, and that's the Black Panther Pursuit from Captain America Civil War in 2016. Now, this is interesting because, Bucky never quite rides a motorcycle while Cap is in some sort of Jeep while they're being chased by Black Panther. However, in the movie, Bucky does ride a motorcycle, and this is pretty accurate to Black Panther's ship, which we only see for a few split seconds on screen, but it was a great way to introduce Black Panther into minifigure form, and of all the Black Panther minifigures to date, this is the only one that had printing on the horn piece that sits on top of his head. I've used that in quite a few customs, so it's gotta be in my top 3 for that reason alone, aside from the fact that it's a pretty cool set regardless. When I reviewed King Namor's throne room in 2022, I did so before the movie came out, and even at that point, I was saying that I think that this is one of the best LEGO Marvel sets ever in terms of the value for the price. Now, this retails at $30, and you get Namor, you get Atuma, and you get Shuri, but here's the deal, guys. Wakanda Forever spoilers coming up. I kind of feel the same way, but it lost some points for me. Granted, it's still number 2 on this list, so I do think it's still very good value because, Namor's throne is such a great display piece, but Shuri never wears this outfit in the movie, so it's a little weird to get a minifigure that is based off of something that literally never happened in the film. And of course, Namor not having his mustache and, his facial hair that we see in the movie is a little bit odd, but still, for $30, it is a pretty good set. It's got a lot of good pieces, and I definitely would keep it at number 2 regardless. And finally, at number 1, we have the Avengers Infinity War Corvus Glaive Thresher Attack. Now, I love this set for a lot of reasons. Not only did it include Black Panther, but it had an exclusive Shuri, Vision, who's a relatively rare figure to get, Corvus Glaive, who's exclusive, and who cares about that, Outrider, but it was so cool to get a playset-based Wakanda set, because I'm a big playset guy, and you'll notice if you look back at all of these sets, almost all of them are vehicles. King Namor's throne room being another exception, and you saw how high that ranked for me. Regardless, this was such a cool set. It retailed for $50, which compare that to Shuri's Sunbird, and it's no doubt that this is a much, much better build. It had a lot of cool trans purple pieces, and it had a lot of cool play features, as you can see just from the front of the box here. So I really, really like this set, and I just think it deserves the number 1 spot. It's a great playset with great minifigures, several of which were exclusive, and it hasn't gotten any less desirable as the years have gone by. But that brings us to the end of the list, so I'd love to hear what you guys think. Drop a comment down below. I want to know if you agree with the list, but more importantly, how many of these sets do you have? Let me know. I'd love to read all the comments. Be sure to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already, and stay inspired out there. Well, you made it to the end of the video. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and maybe check out one of my other videos listed here.